Welcome to Bright Pink Soul, a true intuitive podcast where I get to chat with other bright pink souls. I'm SK, your psychic medium and friend. Today's episode is brought to you by Soul Sessions with SK, because you're not meant to figure it out alone. For a personal reading and Zesty Life Tarot, come find me at skcothren.com. That's skcothren.com. I'm so excited to have Matthew J. McMillan, author, illustrator, musician, and my partner, in for an interview on Bright Pink Soul today. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you.
And I'll just call you Matt, because that's how I normally call you.
No Matt G's.
Oh, I can call you Matt G, if you prefer.
It doesn't matter.
Either way, that's what we normally go by. SK and Matt G. So we're talking about one of my favorite books that you've written, and it is called Making Peace with Demons, Ghosts, Aliens, Death, and Myself today. And what I love about this book is it's like a journal. It's the size of a journal. It's like a personal journal, but it's much more succinct than a journal. I mean, you're actually sharing all kinds of experiences and approaching it in your natural, beautiful style. Would you say?
Thank you.
Would you say it's a? How would you describe this book, just in general?
An accident, maybe. I don't know, because it was like I never planned on writing anything personal. I mean, you kind of know some of that,
Right.
But mostly I wanted to do fiction, and then some weird stuff happened that, we talked about, and the more we talked about it, the more I realized how strange things have been. And
Yes.
so this book just kind of happened, because usually I think about covers and characters. This was just like, wow, weird stuff. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, one of the things that I love about this book too is that it's green. And, we always hear about people saying don't judge a book by its cover, but the truth is we're attracted to certain books for the way they look, because that's our first impression.
Comic books, awesome covers.
Yeah. And I love this cover because it looks like a journal, and of course I love this color of green. It's like literally the heart chakra color, it's that kind of grass green.
Yeah, deep green, yeah.
Yeah, and I just love it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels in my hand, because it's small and you can read it almost in one sitting.
100 pages exact.
That doesn't happen very often. Did
No.
you plan that?
No, I did not.
Okay. So, I guess what I would like for you to do is read the introduction, and then we'll talk about demons and ghosts and aliens and death and all those exciting things.
Yes, all the uplifting, friendly things.
Well, I guess first of all, I want to say that this book surprised me too, because I knew the struggles you were having, and we were both struggling with our health, and you were literally on your deathbed, and we both knew it, and it was a very scary time. And
yeah, I guess my mental health too, with not knowing what my health was doing and not knowing what was actually happening during COVID and all that stuff. So
yeah, it was.
We had just left the fire, because we were in GP at that point, and so we had just left this area, and then talent and all that stuff had the fire. So there was during a lot of that time.
Yeah, it was a really scary time. personally and also regionally, and eventually, after this book came out, the world.
Yeah.
But I think I was so surprised about this book because when I read it, knowing all the behind the scenes, what was going on, I was so impressed with the amount of optimism and lightheartedness, the way you approach these really dark and scary things.
Are they? I mean, that's the whole point. Like, is it really dark and scary? Is it just natural? And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with having fear, but not letting it say, oh, it's a demon, therefore it's going to come to get me. It's,
right.
well, what is it, really? Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that that's what's so awesome about the way you approach it. You approach it in such a different way. And when people see the title, I mean, I think most people's minds go to, oh my God, that's scary stuff.
Yeah, how come there isn't like a black cover with red all over it?
Well, your favorite color scheme is that. Yes. But I think you chose well with this beautiful green, so. All right.
Yeah, natural. It just happened. Yeah.
It's perfect. I really love this book. So go ahead and read the introduction, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Hello, my name is Matthew Gary McMillan. I was born in Ithaca, New York on September 9th, 1975. Aside from writing, I play the guitar, piano, and the drums. I like to draw, mostly comic art, in color. I enjoy sports such as baseball, hockey, football, soccer, curling, and swimming. I collect awesome things like action figures, comics, books, movies, and television shows. Science fiction, horror, fantasy, and paranormal genres are what I am drawn to most, which is why most of my writing and art fall under these categories. I am also a big fan of cartoons. I do not believe in living a normal life because I do not believe such a thing is worth living, if it exists at all. I believe in magic, myself, the infinite splendor of the universe, alternate realities, the power of emotions, that death is not the end of our existence, and that ghosts and aliens are part of our reality. I'm not here to convince non-believers that ghosts are real, or that aliens exist, or how reincarnation works. I am here to tell my story and to do it as truthfully as possible. For those who may feel confused about their own experiences, or for those who wish to feel a little less alone on their life's spiritual journey. From a very young age, I have experienced things that our current society often considers strange, weird, crazy, paranormal, and or freaking awesome. I suppose it is a matter of perspective. Are ghosts scary? Are they sad? Or are they even ghosts at all? Do you find the concept of aliens, beings originating in another part of the universe, unnerving? Or are you more like me and find these notions absolutely fascinating and more than just plausible? I feel like a lot of our confusion and lack of answers stems from a simple thing: to ask the right questions. Is there a God? What happens when we die? Are we alone in the universe? You have probably heard these questions before. Good questions? Maybe, but they are not the right questions. How about, why do we need a God who creates us in his image, with love, and then drowns us when we don't turn out the way he intended? That's a much better question, don't you think? Or how about this one? Can you live with yourself for an eternity? Or this one, why would other beings in the universe want to bother visiting a bunch of greedy, crap-flinging apes who wage war on each other, enslave themselves, and trash the planet they live on? See how that works? I have lived my life by these types of questions because I have a curious mind, a need to know as much as I can, and most of the answers to the other boring questions leave me quite unfulfilled. In this book, I will explore my dreams, the otherworldly beings and places I have encountered in my astral projections, actual visitations I have had by unknown entities, share the unique journey of my guided life, let you in on some of the inspirations of my written works, shed some light on the absurdity of trying to fit in, and do my best to reassure those who may question whether or not they are saying when encountering the preternatural. It is I haven't read this in a while.
It's okay.
It is my current belief that the people who don't have open minds are the real nut jobs. I tried living a life without magic, and it was horrible. This is not a guide. It's more of a companion book, something to let you know that searching for answers and finding truths not socially accepted are more common than you might think. This is my story, the personal truths that I have come to accept, and I am honored and nervously optimistic to share my journey with you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm one of those.
It's weird to go back and read stuff, like I haven't read that in years.
Yeah, and I'm one of those curious beings too. So, we have so many of these conversations all the time about new questions that we're coming up with and new things that we're exploring. So,
that's why we've been together for so many years.
That's true. And I love your inscription to me on this first edition. SK, here's to the dawn of a new day. Love, Matt G.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, like we were talking about, we didn't know. Like, COVID was just about to hit, the fires were just about to hit, all that stuff was going on, amongst other things. And I was like, oh, things are about to get better. I'm going to write this book, and the sun's going to rise. It didn't quite work out that way.
Not even close.
I meant it,
Yeah. And there were many amazing moments.
Oh, heck yes. We wouldn't still be together, maybe even alive, if it wasn't worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
Having some good times.
So the title, Making Peace with Demons, Ghosts, Aliens, Death, and Myself. What does peace feel like to you?
I think it's a level of acceptance, because you've asked me a couple times and other people. I think it's just about an acceptance, not necessarily liking it or disliking it or being chaos and then saying, oh, I'm okay with the chaos. I don't know if it's that. And I just think it's like recognizing that it's there. Whether or not I understand it, whether or not I can interact with it, isn't as important as just realizing, okay, it's there. Because so many times, especially growing up, with religion and all that, it's this is here, this is not.
What do you mean?
And then realizing that, wait a minute, that dream actually came true 5 years later. Wait a minute, that entity, I actually could hear the footsteps on the wood, and there's nobody with me in an empty building. So it's like, after a while, you start to realize there's more going on.
Right.
I don't have to understand it. I don't have to be able to explain it. There's no defensiveness, because I have a tendency to be that way. But it's like, can I be okay with a demon, even though I don't believe in biblical demons? What is a ghost? I don't know. But it's obviously lingering in a reality. Our senses can pick it up.
Right.
Again, seeing footages of UFOs and strange lights and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily, again, like I'm not trying to prove to you that aliens exist. Right. There's evidence out there. Take a look at it. So, what is death?
And I think one of the most important things that I want to bring across in this podcast is awareness and acceptance. Yeah. And hopefully with some lightheartedness along the way, because
it's a bad title. Awareness and Acceptance by Matthew G. McMillan. That's all right.
No,
it's not as catchy.
I love the title. I love it, and I think that the whole point is the word is I made. You say making peace. It's not I made peace, because it's a process, right? I mean,
it's a process. I don't think anyone has ever made peace. It's just a process of learning to accept more and more. I don't know if we have lifespans long enough.
Do you think once you create this, I don't know what, a space of peace, this understanding of peace, is it something within you that you can tap into when you need to, when things are chaotic?
I think it gets easier and you can go farther in, but we are not islands. And considering that I am one being on a planet of trillions and trillions of beings of different kinds, larger, smaller, mosquitoes can do a lot of damage. More people have died from mosquitoes than bullet wounds in the history of the world. So it's like,
good point.
We all can affect each other, but some things can affect more than others. So how can you get to a point where you're okay with the idea that malaria is in this little tiny bug or lions get hungry?
Right.
You just don't know. So it's just kind of like, can you be okay knowing you're going to die, knowing that things can happen and you might not ever understand? So I think it gets easier the more you answer questions that end up in more questions, to say, okay, I just need to be okay with this even though I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I think that gets easier the more times you are in situations where you're not overly traumatized, where you can come back and go, okay, I made it through that. I can do something similar again in the future. And then as that keeps happening, you just learn to be more okay with it, even though you'll never be 100% okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk about a lot is, when you're in that moment, it's not funny. But
No.
years later, we can read this book together and go, wow, that
Yeah.
was crazy, and laugh about it because we survived it. We've learned how to incorporate it into our lives.
I think we were also looking for like a real spiritual path, which is why there's like more questions and exploration in it. It's like, okay, I'm in this situation. How do we move forward? We were trying to find out what we were going to work with. You had moved into an area where you thought a job was opening up, but then you ended up becoming a tarot medium. So it was that time where a lot of that stuff was developing, and
Yeah, I think transitions are the hardest.
yeah, it was very transitional. And again, the whole world was going through it. We just didn't know that COVID had just started.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about it for a couple months after, because I published this November 19. It was the beginning of 2020 that COVID really got worldwide.
That's
but it
true.
was all that stuff that was kind of like leading into it. I'm like, were we just picking up on the energy that the world was about to head into?
Right. Yeah. It certainly felt like those of us who are really, aware that we're more consciousness than a body.
Yeah.
I think we were all tapping into it. Those of us who were, making an effort to tap into it were more aware. We didn't know what was going on, but something was clearly going on. And there was a mass awakening, in what,
it's still going on.
Yes. And 2012 or 2013, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the like the Mayan calendar and all that stuff was the 2012, and that both you and I in 2013, I mean, a couple years before we'd met each other, had undergone some pretty big changes.
Yes.
Including serious health issues and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2012 was the last year that I had like a really good time the entire year.
Yeah. Yeah, 2013 was a major.
It started to get yeah.
and the more we found out, we were not alone in that. There were so many people who went through major shifts, not only in health, mental health, jobs, relationships. I mean, things just kind of fell apart.
Political, it was across the board.
Mm-hmm. So let's get back to demons. How would you describe demons?
Well, I grew up with the strict biblical definition, which is a demon is a creature that was originally an angel and got cast to hell with Satan. But now I just wonder if a demon is just a dark side of something.
Okay.
Again, is religion just looking at one side of the coin, which is the angel, and then the other side of the coin, which is the demon?
Right.
But is the darkness really something to be afraid of? Is it really, or is it just like I have a decision to make and I can have the angel or demon on my shoulder, as in a cartoon? And while that's funny, it's kind of true. We've talked about, whenever you get to a point to make a decision, are you going to choose the voice of love or the voice of fear? Am I going to do this and speak love, or am I going to do this and speak fear? Well, the demon's the one who's going to speak the fear.
Right.
So for me, it's not necessarily an entity as much as it is an energy, just kind of like how I consider like a godlike energy. I don't consider it a being. It's
Right.
more of just like an energy, which is why I hate the word God, because that doesn't really fit it. It's like saying wind. Wind is like this energy of movement. It can
Right.
be hot, it can be cold, it can go up, it can go down, it can swirl around in a
Yes.
tornado. So it has its own like physics. So for me, the demon is just the shadow side of things.
So when you talk about the demon in the book that you encountered when you were a
Yeah,
child,
dark entity.
how did you did you picture it in your mind's eye, or
It's kind of like a incomplete sketch. Like I can see like a neck and a jaw, but I can't see the top of the head. I can
okay,
see eyes that are uncomfortable to look at, but not necessarily scary because I can't actually see them. It's murky. Again, I can see like hands, but I don't know if it has 2 fingers or 12.
okay.
So it's just kind of like
Is
this
it a certain
entity that's
color?
it's very thin, and it likes to hide, and it will only come out when the fear is right. So it
Okay.
can actually do something. Is it psychological? Is it actually in a parallel universe? Is it something that we conjure? Like, I'm not really sure. But is it something? Yeah, it's an energy for sure.
Was it a certain color to you?
It was kind of like a pale peach and a black.
Hmm.
So the parts that I could see were like pale peach, and then the parts that disappeared, like whether the fingers, stretched out a certain, it just kind of fades to black.
Interesting. And your brother saw this same demon in your house.
Said something about it. Again, I don't know how far to go with it, which is why I'm glad I put it in the book, because that was a conversation I had 6 years ago.
Yeah,
But
I mean, did he
it
describe
doesn't
the demon
surprise me.
though?
Well, again, he described a being that could have been the one that I had, because our own perspectives can see it. I
Right.
am making the assumption that yes, that being had been with our family, whether we had picked it up where we lived, whether it had come in somebody else, whether, you know, again, there's so many
Right.
possibilities. But whatever had happened, yes, I do believe he encountered it and he took it on. That's his attitude. So
Right. So, do you feel like if people encounter a demon in their environment, there is a way to deal with it in a healthy way so that you can release it, or cleanse that energy, or move that energy on? I mean, what do you feel about that? What can people do if they feel like they have a demon in their environment?
well, I think it's anything that's like negative, like we talk about narcissists. They can't stand being made fun of. So if you have like joy and humor and love, they don't like it. That energy, whether it's a narcissist or a dark energy, I just think it's simply, you don't even have to do a ceremony if you don't want. I mean, you and I do our sage and all that because
Right.
we think it helps. But I think more importantly is to create a space where you feel good and it can't survive in that space. You basically starve it.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Well said. I really like that.
Well, thank you. I didn't plan on it.
You're
Just
welcome.
that's how my brain works.
So
You
you
know,
talk about aliens in your book, and we talk about aliens a lot, and I never know, that's the current term, but and I'm evolving in that, in the sense that I feel they're extraterrestrials, but I now that I know they live in the ocean or in water here on our planet as well, it doesn't quite fit. So I guess alien is the most comfortable
it just
term.
means, yeah, a foreign entity
Yes, something we're not familiar with.
originated. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you talk about aliens in this book, um, What is your view of alien contact?
I think in the simplest form, in terms of like three-dimensional, you have a being from another place that comes in some form of light travel or, some kind of time-space bridge that can actually visit this world. Now imagine like how much time it would take to go from one side of the universe to the other. But like so much science fiction and stuff, and maybe even science is coming to realize, what if you just put a doorway and you wouldn't have to cross the space?
Right.
So what's technically they could say, well, that happened 2 million years ago because that's 2 million light years away. Well, if you stepped there and back without having to cross the time, the 2 million years doesn't pass for that being.
Right.
So an entity can, I mean, when you start looking at it in that fashion, yes, I believe that there are beings way more advanced mentally and spiritually than humans. I actually don't think we're even in the top 50, maybe even the top 100. But not that that's the goal. I think humans' gift of creativity is astounding. But I do believe that entities cross in here, whether it's stuff from Skinwalker Ranch or even stuff that's been recorded in the past. There's too much of that. There's just, and like you said about the ocean, we have videos of different people and surveillance cameras on the same thing where light comes up out of the ocean and then shoots out at a speed that no human, can handle.
Yeah.
And when you see these things over and over again, you're like, okay, something's going on. Are we the aliens? Are they the aliens? Were we brought here? There's evidence of scientific manipulation with all like the mummies and stuff they're finding in South America. Yeah. And so you have like metal implants in a body that's 1,000 years old. Well, how did that happen? We didn't have metal implants. So, you get to a point where you're like, okay, something's going on here. There are things from outside coming here. I don't know if it's a different frequency, but I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty sure that when I talk about aliens, I mean things that did not originate on planet Earth in this dimension.
That is well said. Yes, I agree. Things that did not originate on planet Earth.
Yes. I think we're probably in the top, maybe 3 or 4 spot on Earth, but I definitely think there are beings here that are kind of trying to keep us from destroying the universe.
Yeah.
Nuclear weapons and diseases and all that kind of stuff. I didn't say we. There's a lot of us who want nothing to do with that, but exactly. I think that there are beings here to make sure we don't mess it up too badly.
So on that note, one of the things that you talk about in this book that I think is so well described is when you were tapping into your spirit guides. And before that time, you hadn't really explored that, right?
No, not really. I had just kind of assumed that there was like an energy and a life path. But I had done, done the studying of religions, and I'm like, well, there's something here, but I don't know what it is specifically. But then when you and I were going through some times and we were really digging into like, well, what is happening here? I started seeing them. So, it was almost like a silly Monty Python sketch kind of thing where it was not something I ever planned. It's just, I was like, I wonder if I can see my spirit guides. Yeah. Sure enough, there are a couple of like toga wearing Greek guys with beards out there like kicking a hacky sack, just making sure that nothing had come in. So we were safe on the inside, and so right. Like, why are these spirit guides doing that? They're just kind of hanging out because we have this idea that like we're the one who's going to go on this grand adventure, and we have this like awesome team of superheroes behind us. And it's like, well, some of them are just kind of chill. You might have these awesome Native American guides who are helping you, but you also just might have a couple of, guys who just want to hang out, but they also have the ability to chase off stuff that might get to you at that particular time in your life. So since then, I really don't know, like specifically. I think people have different spirit guides at different times. I think some of them are environmental. I think some of them are like for your spiritual path. I think some of them are just for like your physical health. Because even after that, you know, you and I have had some experiences. Those two guys out there playing hacky sack in the yard weren't ghosts. They were just there to kind of make sure that things were cool.
Yeah.
But I've not had that ever since then. That was just in that particular time. So for me, it's really wide open. Like, I could have them now and not know. But after I wrote that book, I had an out-of-body experience that I'll put in the book I'm writing after this, where I left my body and I saw different beings out there protecting. And they were the exact opposite of a couple of guys in robes playing hacky sack. It was, you know,
Right.
like raven killer mobster birds that were really protecting me at that particular time in my life. So, you know, it's spirit guides, I think, run a gamut. I think we kind of narrow our vision when it comes to a lot of that stuff. We kind of look at like, well, it says in this text or this person had that experience, instead of spirit guides can come and go and they can have all kinds of shapes and sizes. They could physically be beings from another planet. Like you said, maybe you technically have an alien that's actually a spirit guide because it's there to protect you physically.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most interesting, well, there's been so many, but one that I remember so distinctly when I was doing a reading for someone, and she had this tall praying mantis.
Oh, yeah.
As one of her guides. And he was, you know, he almost touched the ceiling in a normal size house. So he was probably, you know, what ceilings are usually about 8 feet tall. So,
yeah,
you know, he was almost 8 feet tall. And he had such a sense of humor. I mean, when she said, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, he crossed his arms. You know, and I mean, he had arms, and the way he was showing me, and he crossed his arms and was like, think harder.
Well, I think the other thing is I just see like the letters SMH, which is, you know, shakes my head kind of thing
Oh,
that people
yes.
put online. It's just kind of like the,
Yes,
we're
yes.
trying to help you here, lady.
And then, you know, when he did that and I described it to her, then she had this memory of this extraordinary experience where the screen door of her at her house that she had been living in at that time was covered in praying mantises. And, you know, that doesn't happen. That just, most people are lucky if they see one.
Yeah, well, here or there.
Yeah, and she hadn't ever seen praying mantis before that, and then her entire screen door is covered in them for no
And again,
apparent.
does it have a specific meaning, or is it just there to help with the situation? It's just,
Exactly.
again, it's just guiding you. It's not like, you better do this, you have to do that. It's just like, I'm trying to help you here, lady. Just, can you get to point B from point A?
Yeah, and it was just,
then I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. And I would really love to have you kind of share on page 73 where you talk about the leader, one of your do you think she's one of your spirit guides?
No, I think she's an actual entity that I will meet when I cross back over.
Okay.
What happens after that, I don't know. And again, maybe we only see things that are familiar to us. You know, there could be versions of entities that none of us can comprehend. So it could be that. But as I'm a human right now, I see her as somewhat human.
Okay.
And it's a her. Very rarely do I feel like masculine or feminine. But that experience and that like side pocket dream, whatever the hell that was, no, she's an entity. She's real. She's solid.
Wow. Well,
She's only come to me once since I wrote that.
I really think it would be cool for you to read part of that because you just describe it so beautifully. So would you mind reading that part?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start on the 72 just
Yeah.
because I like the little lead-in.
Okay, yeah.
But the woman who came last was the most powerful. She was 8 feet tall, dressed in a white robe or gown, and wore a simple white cloche hat. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cloche hat. Again, I wrote this a while ago. White cloche hat that had abstract black shapes on it, almost like a cowhide pattern. She was visually and emotionally striking, far beyond human beauty, her face slightly elongated, with sharp lines along her jaw and cheekbones. She did not step toward me or state anything verbally. She was the leader, my superior, my commander. The most astounding thing about her was that she radiated every emotion that I had ever felt. She might have even had some that I had not felt due to the extreme emotional condition I found myself in. I could feel her love, her sorrow, her joy, her calm sense of peace, her rage, her contentment, her leadership, and powers of destruction. I wanted to hug her, to obey her, run from her, hit her, love her, and everything in between. What I actually did was nothing. She communicated telepathically. She was in charge and had brought my soul tribe to back me. There was work for me to do, and the time had come to step into my full power. She referred to me as the Admiral. I was from somewhere beyond Earth, like the others in my soul tribe, and these beings standing behind me would be coming into my life soon to assist me. How? That was not explained. When? All that was conveyed to me was soon. We were the others. We had come to help them, those who were struggling with life on Earth, the souls who were from here and in need of assistance. Starseeds like myself and other deeply spiritual people were needed to help break the hold that the dark energy beings had on this planet.
Awesome.
Yeah, again, like, it's not so much answers as just kind of like a direction.
So, do you feel since that time that that message and that interaction with her has changed you?
I think it has allowed other aspects to come in easier. It kind of like opened up more doorways, so I had more options. The only time I've heard from her since then was, I don't know, some months later when I was having a nightmare about being in church and I couldn't escape. And she just whispered my name in my ear loudly so that I would wake up.
That's right.
That's the only time I feel like
I
she's kind
remember
of
that.
just beyond reach because their job isn't to come and make us do stuff and, look over our shoulder all the time and micromanage us. They're just kind of in the background, kind of like cheering us on, as we're playing the game. Because we get to make the plays. We get to swing the bat, we get to throw the ball, we get to, score the goals, whatever the case is. And she's just kind of like, okay, I came forward, to the edge of the stage where the stands are, and then I'm sitting back in my seat.
Do you feel like if you reached out to her that she would come back?
Maybe. I just don't feel the urge. It's like I got everything I needed.
Right. That makes sense.
Because the questions now are more about what I can do.
Right.
And how do I take care of myself? How much do I explore scientific method and how much do I explore using my own intuition and experiences to make decisions?
Right. Do you
And
feel
again, who
like
knows? She could come back big time. It's just as of right now, I don't feel that.
so do you feel like um that was one of the most powerful interactions you've had with your spirit guides, or do you feel like that was
That
just
was the most impactful, absolutely. I remember, like, when I told you, and I woke up and I was just, like, crying. Like, I had had this experience. And I just kind of laid there and I was just kind of, like, saying it to you. And
I think I remember you saying something like, can you imagine feeling all your emotions at once?
yes.
Love, intense love, intense fear, intense, you know,
Joy
every
and rage. Yeah, it was.
all at once, like immediately.
And I've since referred to it as like having the box of 64 crayons. Now imagine you have 64 individual emotions, and what she had the ability to do was to pull out any crayon, aka an emotion,
Right.
use it, and then put it back. I mean, she had that kind of control.
Wow.
So, again, I'll probably write that in the next book as a way to describe it a little more clearly. But I think that's part of, I think, not just my journey, but I think a lot of our journeys is to say, stop trying to get rid of all this stuff and make peace with it.
Yes, I love that. And that's a beautiful way to kind of lead into a little bit of the future since then. Um, you wrote this or you published this in 2019. Is that right? Is that right? Or was it 2018?
Yeah, 2019. It's been 6 years.
Yeah, so you published this in 2019, and you've learned a tremendous amount since then, not only about your health, but about everything. Um, so do you feel what have you discovered since you wrote this book that not necessarily explains what you experienced, but maybe illuminates it a little bit more?
Well, I think it's kind of strange because, first of all, I was wrong about some things. I think that's important to say. I had some things I didn't quite understand at the time, or I just was flat out wrong about. But at the same time, I also think it has really helped. I mean, not just with personal growth, but with expanding awareness. And like you said, the humor. It was about that time that the humor really started to come back into my writing. It started to come back into my life because I believe that's the savior. As much as I love to say, oh, love saved my life or determination, I don't think so. I actually think the humor is what kept me alive during that time because you were helping me, you were supporting me. But I think it was what I needed to do was to be able to bring in that sense of humor as often as possible. And that's not let up. I believe every year since then, even though there's been some tough ones, humor has definitely been a major factor.
Yes.
And again, I agree. The title of the book after this has got a funnier title. So I think that was a huge discovery, was that, yes, I'd always liked to laugh. Humor is great for this and that. But you know what it also can do? Is push away the demons, or it can push away the fear of death or whatever, and just be like,
yeah,
we're all here for a while. If we can't realize that we're not going to figure everything out, you're going to be a lot happier and you're going to be a lot more in that sense of humor. And I just feel like that was really a big turning point. And then I know that we had a couple of years after that, a couple bunch.
Yeah.
But, here we are having this conversation. So whether it was spirit guides or determination, humor, here we are. And it's definitely changed my outlook on life.
That's beautiful. I agree. I think
hard-earned.
Yes.
As you know, most of us who go through this stuff, it's not funny at the time, but you look back and you go, damn.
Yes. And I think it's really important to talk about what humor is, because it's portrayed in a lot of different ways. And, in the movies and books and, commercials, if we take this pill, we're going to laugh more and dance more. But to me, true humor is being able to just sit back and almost look at something that we've been through, or look at ourselves with a sense of curiosity, like, what was that? What just happened? Or, just being able to kind of look at it from a different perspective and a more curious perspective.
And I think almost like a more childlike, a simpler.
Yes.
I find this is why cartoons and stuff like Monty Python sketches, or even, some of the stuff from like Saturday Night Live with more cowbell and all that, is it's about absurdity.
Yes.
It's about this, it's crazy, I don't understand it, it hurts, but does it? can I get to a point where I just realize it's ridiculous? And I think that's where a lot of humor comes from.
Yes.
Whether it's, SpongeBob or the fish slapping dance like we talk about in Monty
Yes.
Python, where it's just a guy slapping another guy in the face with fish. It's absurd. But then you look around at life and you watch what people are doing or animals are doing, and you're like, damn, this is absurd.
Yes.
So
Love that.
I think the human nature is to have more of that, but we've been living in societies that are like fear, 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 work, 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 go, 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 instead of stop for a minute, just think about how crazy and absurd a lot of this is, and have a laugh. That's not really encouraged. They say self-care, but can you just sit there in the tub and just realize I'm soaking in water on a planet that's zipping through space? There's probably aliens all over the place. My ancestors could be sitting in the living room waiting for me because, they got some message to give me when I get out of the tub, and you start thinking about these things, and it's just like there's somebody out there creating a cartoon that's going to blow my mind next year. There's going to be some athlete coming who's going to set a record. There's going to be some political leader who's going to come and, preach love or whatever. It's all happening at once.
Right.
And it's like, so what is the self-care? It's just the awareness. It's just like, okay, this is how I'm going to, make peace with it. It's crazy. And through that, I think the humor comes from the ridiculousness, the absurdity. You can't escape certain things, Right. You're going to get sick. You're going to die. You're going to have, love. You're going to have heartbreak. So instead of calling these things extreme and in your face, sure, but they're also ridiculous. I think that's it's important.
Yeah.
Because I don't always treat it that way.
Well, I mean, both of us.
Time, even less.
I think it's fun to watch. Right now, we're watching the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America and all these, Marvel comic movies, and how all the time, they're in these intense situations where they're fighting off, they're completely outnumbered. It's insane the situations they're in, and they're joking the whole way through it. And
yeah, especially Spidey,
Yeah, I mean, it's just so fun to watch that and get that perspective, because when we can do that in our lives, I mean, we're always going to be dealing with things that are, there's just things so much out of our control.
Yep.
That if we can approach it with that sense of humor, like, oh my gosh, exactly what you're saying about absurdity and curiosity of a child, and it just makes it better, more fun. And when you get to have a partner that approaches things that way too, it's
support.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm having a rough time, you pick me up with those things, and vice versa. And
unless I'm an autistic overload.
Well, we're pretty good at that balance, I think. And
but usually that's because we care. We want that.
And we accept each other. I mean, we know the struggles that we've been through, and we respect that about each other.
Yeah, we joke about the perfection instead of actually going for it anymore.
Right. And I think it's so important in relationships too, and we can come back and talk about this maybe another time, but I just think it's so important not to make fun of ourselves and make fun of others in a put down kind of way.
Make light of it. Yeah, literally light and dark. If you make light of it.
Yes. I just think it's so much more fun when we're not criticizing ourselves in the name of humor. That we're actually accepting ourselves and laughing at the absurdity of it.
Yeah, I've read, they say they do studies. I don't know who they are, but, your body doesn't know the difference. So if you say, I'm stupid out loud, you hear that and you think, well, maybe I'm stupid.
Yes.
Whereas if you could say, well, that was silly and ridiculous.
Yes.
You're still telling yourself that it's okay to make a mistake.
Yes.
But doing it in a more lighthearted way.
beautiful
I have not
example.
mastered this by anyone.
Neither have I, but we work on it together.
We're aware. As
Yes.
long as you're aware, you have the opportunity to make the difference, which is why I think awareness is so important.
Yeah.
We need to have things around us that cause us to like, oh, I never saw that before. Or, oh, that's new and interesting. Therefore, we have options. So instead of just saying I'm stupid all the time, there might be even better ways than saying something lighthearted like silly. I just don't know it yet. But
Right.
as long as you're aware, you can make the movement forward.
Yes. And would you say that that is the peace that you've come to?
I don't even know if it's the piece, but it's a piece. It's part of the acceptance of absurdity. It's something I really feel like is kind of like my life right now, is the acceptance of absurdity.
Yes.
With having an autoimmune disease and living with the crippling effects of that, but also saying just because I have that doesn't mean I can't laugh, that I can't, enjoy the birds or a conversation with my partner. Those things still all exist. It's just, it's different now than it was before.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is just accepting the change.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
And I think through that, the peace can come in.
Yes. I can see that. Well
kind of
said.
like with the dark energy, you bring in the laughter and all that kind of stuff, the joy. And that thing just can't stick around anymore because it doesn't belong. Well, same thing with making peace. The more you just get in that state where like, okay, I just need to be all right with this, then the peace can settle in.
Well said. I think that's a perfect end note.
Period. The end. Oh wait, we're still laughing at it.
Well,
P.S.
I think it's really important to mention one of the things that you talk about in the book is dreams, and one of the things that you are it's easy for you to interpret very complicated dreams, and with lots of different layers and nuances, and we talk about this a lot. And I think people who are aware of their dreams really want to understand what that dream state is. And so just going forward, I want to mention that you've opened this up to people who want to share their dreams. And you'll come back and talk about, we'll read those dreams and you can interpret them for people.
Yeah, and again, it's not like a guarantee like I know everything, but I have spent so much time in the dream world with different aspects of it that I understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't, maybe not a lot of it, but enough of it that a lot of times when I talk about it with people who have dreams, the connections are made. Like, oh, I didn't see that. So it's more of, again, maybe I'm the spirit guy who believes. I don't know. But
well, I feel like the fact that you love it and it's so natural for you, and I have really intense dreams just like you do. We work really hard on our dreams, and we both believe, that our dreams are unconscious and our other realm that we enter every day when we go to sleep.
Or do we always stay there and then sometimes we just pull ourselves out?
We don't know, but
we
talk about this a lot, and I think I know that you're really good at this. It's a real natural ability for you, and it's one of your intuitive gifts to be able to interpret people's dreams. So I want to encourage people to write their dreams that they would like an interpretation of.
Yeah, love it.
And send them to me at skkaufman.com or on Instagram at brightpinksoul. You can send in your dreams, and Matt will come back on and talk about them with me.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Awesome. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you for being willing to go back in time with me and talk about this amazing book. And I will be putting the book as well as a link links in the show notes so that people can find your book.
Yeah, it's fun to revisit it,
I'm so glad. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining me on Bright Pink Soul today. I'm SK and I would love to hear from you. If you'd like to share your questions, stories, or experiences, whether for the podcast or just personally, send me a message at skcawthron.com. That's all for now. Until next time, take good care.